If you cut your body into its constituent parts and add their masses together, this is of course the same as getting the mass of your body as a whole. For particles, it's not quite the same. Now, majority of the mass of particles around us comes from protons and neutrons. Electrons make up a tiny bit, so we can ignore them. Now, these protons and neutrons are made up of smaller things called quarks. A proton, which is around 1.7 times 10 to the negative 27 kilograms, is made up of 4.1 plus 4.1 plus 9.1 times 10 to the negative 30 kilograms of quarks. What does that mean? The proton is almost 100 times heavier than what it's made of, which is just weird. Where did all the other mass come from? Mass, especially in this context, isn't really the amount of stuff something has. But before we get deeper, let's first look at some basics. Now, lucky for us, we can easily observe the effects of the force of gravity. Matter attracts matter, matter attracts matter, matter still attracts matter. So if we wanted to do any action against gravity, such as picking something up, because gravity depends on mass, the heavier something is, the harder it is to move it. Mass is just resistance to that object being bothered. The same goes for the force that keeps quarks in a specific position, that keeps them in a proton or neutron formation. Just like gravity that makes matter attracted to matter, the strong force does that too, but a little differently. The strong force wants to keep quarks in a really specific formation, not too close, not too far from each other. If quarks get too close to each other, the strong force would work to move them away from each other. If they get too far, it works to move them closer. The strong force exerts a resistance from anything else that may disrupt this formation. So this strong force exerting energy to keep the whole system from being modified or bothered is what we feel as 99% of a proton or a neutron's mass, which is super cool. Now, every time you look at, well, anything, 99% of that isn't even stuff. Nor is it about the Higgs boson, if you've ever heard of that. Instead, it's energy pretending to be stuff. And apparently, even further down into the quark scale, there is another process that's giving these quarks their masses. Honestly, that thought kinda makes me want to throw up. Like, when does it stop? But using the term or quantity that is mass depends on whatever context you have. For example, measuring the mass of objects and using that to predict things like how far they go up or how hard it is to push them. As long as this method is practical enough and gives us accurate predictions, it's fine. We don't need to get too existential about it, and that's just how science works. Now, if your context is you're someone who wants to understand how stuff works at the tiniest of tiniest scales possible, then I hope this video is able to help you do that. Thanks for watching, I'll see you next time.